Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hashtag Flint with Shayne Hodges, broadcasting to you live from the east side of Flint. Today we find ourselves in a very unusual position. We have national media attention on our city and the things that are involved with our everyday lives, the things that have been affecting us, and it's just such a relief to finally have someone believe, after months and months of advocating and trying to bring this story to light, we finally have some answers to these problems. You know, if everyone's been following the internet and the Rachel Maddow shows and everything that's been posted through Facebook and Twitter and most social media sites, you understand just a small part of the situation. But today, at first, I want to take us back to a little bit when we still had Mayor Walling and they just finally admitted there was a problem when the Dr. Mona from Hurley announced that there was blood lead level problems with the children. The one thing that's concerning me the most right now as a resident of the city of Flint is we know that the state of Michigan gave X amount of money. They gave $6 million. The Mott Foundation gave $4 million. And the city of Flint, through the city council, voted to give $2 million. And that money was to pay to have Detroit Water until June when our KWA project was finished. Now, from my understanding, that $13 million is to cover all water rates. So my confusion in this issue is, with that money being paid already to Detroit, they sent the check, the money was there the next week. They paid that bill to Detroit. Why, as city residents who have been poisoned, it's obvious we're under a state of emergency, city, county, and state. Why are we still being charged for this water with shut-off notices, weird bills? My bill, for example, somehow I fell into a billing cycle where they didn't have a bill for me for 2 months. And then I got a really big bill with the due date 4 days before Christmas. And that's the question. How are we being charged for water that's already paid for? Wasn't that supposed to be the relief for being poisoned for 13 months? These are some of the questions that aren't being asked or answered. Where is our money going from the bill? I'm gonna put some headphones in and talk right now.
See, I was like, that's the thing is too. This is one of the instances. This came up on a posting on Facebook. Somebody asked me and somebody else who was a libertarian. I'm a libertarian, and they asked this. They directed it to libertarians. This is one instance where maybe a private company would have been more on the hook than the way they could, because let's face it, they say they don't want private corporations taking over stuff, and I can agree on some. I don't want prisons controlled by private corporations. I'm not like that. But if there was a private owned corporation and this was going on, it wouldn't have gone on as long, because they would say people would stop buying the product, and
right.
And they would have, and the government would have been the intervener then, and they'd say, okay, until you correct the problem with your product, they don't have to pay. But now it's them. They're turning it, basically kicking the can down the road and saying, okay, we still want money coming in. Okay, this is what the federal government's for. That's what the government's for, in my opinion. And this is an instance where a private corporation, I can't say definitively, may have been more accountable and it would have reacted sooner than the government doing this, and our local localities, our local government's doing this. So that's what my opinion is. I mean, there could have been more of an incentive for them to correct the problem faster, because they would have loss of profits.
Right. But now, in my opinion, it was a coup for the city of Flint. They got $13 million cash up front, paid the water bill, and now they get to collect every bit of our money like they were still selling us the Flint River. And that is a major problem to me, because you know, for me, I have 3 children, 6, 3, and 1. And to feed and give them water and bathe them in bottled water, we go through a case a day. And that's rationing, putting both kids in the water in the sink. So that's on top of our big bill. You know, these are some of the things that are really, really a problem for most residents in the city. They just don't understand. And that brings me to the finance committee meeting that I attended in the city of Flint on Wednesday. I sat back and listened to Natasha Henderson and Jody Lundquist explain how rude and how bad the citizens of Flint are talking to the water department people as well as them. What do you expect? You're making us pay for poison. And that brings me to this whole $280 million project, the KWA, which, by the way, the KWA has been canceled for the month of January, and they will be reconvening on February 17th at 2 p.m. in the City of Lapeer Council Chambers. And let me remind you, the City of Lapeer voted not to go with the KWA. They stuck with Detroit. But they have 28 years to invest. Remember, there's a lot of money involved in this. And my personal beliefs are, since these people have been taken out of office, now these scams are starting to come about, just like the break-in at City Hall. Wasn't that convenient over the holidays? That's just one question. There's a lot of issues that we're fighting here in Detroit. And one of the issues that was brought up last night on the Rachel Maddow show is, where is the water? We're under an emergency. Everybody admits it, but we don't see the water. Yesterday, Sheriff Pickell and his crew of county mounties got on a bus and a tow truck and started delivering to the north end. And is that what we're going to see every day, or is it just because we've been brought into this media blitz? These are the things that, it just seems to me like nobody's reacting until we get national coverage. Make us is the opinion of those that make these decisions. It brings me to the January 4th county declaration of an emergency. Everybody, it seemed like there was still some people at odds against it, but it took the doctors and the mayor to stand up and say, no, we need help. All city resources have been exhausted. All county resources have been exhausted. And that's the thing. Where'd they go? There's filters sitting in a warehouse somewhere. To get it is a crapshoot. The fire station is supposed to be the command center. If you call there, you get no water from them. Things are changing. As of today, they're passing out water. There's going to be rallies at Bethel United tomorrow, January 9th at 2 p.m. for water giveaways. We're trying to find somebody to give water for that. There's also January 14th, there's going to be, we're trying to get the community together to go to Lansing, because January 14th is the day that our state government comes back from vacation. We want to go to Lansing and rally and show them that we want our city back. We're tired of being under an emergency manager. It doesn't work. If we look down the 17 cities who have been under emergency manager, none of them have come out of emergency management yet. Because what we're seeing as people, real people in real life, is it's just a corporate raider designed to come in, sell off your assets, and balance your budget. People be darned. And that's not what we want. Democracy is alive and well in this country, and it's just what we need is people to stand with us and fight against this system. Because the thing that kills me is you go into any courtroom or any of these buildings and you see these judges and prosecutors. They are high and mighty, but when it's election time, they come to you and they're sweet and they'll kiss your babies and promise you the moon. But when they're sitting behind those positions of power, they have no one to answer to. And that's why it's up to us to come together and start getting ourselves registered to vote. Between 18-35, we have to register to vote. We have to vote out these same groups of people who've been running and running. If they don't make county commissioner, they go to city council. If they don't make city council, they go to state rep. Just think about some of these same faces we've seen in the city over and over and over. For example, there's a city council member who's been on there 30 years. Just happened to be the worst 30 years in the city's history. But they're still there. Nobody challenges them. Nobody asks them anything. And if you talk to them, they act like they know it all and you are dumb. It turns out we're not, and we're paying attention. We want our city back. Some of these things that we need to do is we need to find out about these people. We have water warriors and we have advocates in the city. We need to come together and have one agenda, not separate hidden agendas that people are pushing and promoting themselves. We need to promote our city. The election's over, we have a mayor now. That is our city's leader. We need to stand behind and support our mayor. We need to come together as a community. East side, north side, south side, everybody needs to come together and start meeting, start discussing problems that we are having specific to our areas, and just work out our problems ourselves. And when this election comes around for city council and all the state reps and the county commissioners, it's time to pay attention, because isn't it enough these good old boys just taking and taking and taking and leaving the rest of us to suffer? Come on, poison water for 18 months. We told them there was a problem, but we were denied and ridiculed and just blown off. Like they said, one of the emails had the nerve to say, guess they were right. Yikes. So yikes is right. So when these people that are driving these brand new cars and making these big old paychecks don't get reelected, that's when things change. That's when people start making correct decisions, when they know the heat is on and the voters are watching. And that's one of the reasons why I started the group Hashtag Flint, because I want to have a common forum for everybody. There's no administrators to the pages. It's just somebody posting information that is detrimental to all of us in the city. We want to come together. We want to educate and empower each other. That's the thing. And we're starting to see our city government come together. People have been fired, and they're dropping like flies, resignations. We had a person who was city council president, and Mr. KWA and Mr. All the Way Flint quit on us right in the middle of a term. No reason whatsoever, just quit. Why? Because maybe that wind of change caught up with him, and he realized this isn't going to be the cash cow cakewalk that we're used to. Time for me to go. We're watching, don't worry. So when them other elections and campaigns get started, we'll be there. Believe that. Those same people that just didn't have the resources good enough for you and your family, we'll be there. Believe that. And some of the things we need to get out today is there are a lot of places that are giving out water. There's City Hall, Woodside Church, St. Paul's Church. All these places in Flint have water and filters. So if you need help, contact me through my Facebook. Contact All Points TV's Facebook page. And let us know that you need some help. If you have shut-ins or you don't live in Flint, but you have family that does and you need some help, just let us know. Get to us on our page. And, it's been a busy week in the city, and I went to a few meetings. One of them was the master plan meeting, which I found very enlightening, because sitting on the master plan steering committee is 2 city council members, a county commissioner, a couple planning and zoning board members, and they are the ones responsible for changing the landscape of this city. And I understand 5,000 out of 100,000 people worked closely to make these changes, but I would just like everyone to please pay attention to these meetings. Please go. Let your voices be heard. Let your opinions be spoken, so that way we can start watching. Because one of the problems that's been going on in this city is they've got away with nobody watching, do what they want, say what they want, and not having to pay any repercussions. Because the one thing that I would like to see come out of this whole water issue is some charges. Because if you caught me poisoning you and your family and a whole bunch of families, we'd be posting my record on my Facebook page. But since these are politicians and they have government immunity, we just have to suck it up and get some bottled water. So, please be aware of the meetings in the cities and who's on these boards, because that's the thing. We are in a unique time in this city. We have a charter review committee. What a charter review committee is going to do is they're going to rewrite our city's rules. The last time this was done was in 1974. 1974 was a while ago. So I agree it needs to be changed, but we have to watch who's changing them. So please be advised, check out our webpage. There's a lot of pages out there. What are you fighting for? Water Warriors United. All these different groups are around to try to help inform, trying to educate, trying to let you know that they're in. What I would like to see is the real people of Flint, the people who live here every day, the people who ride the buses, the people who work in Flint and live in Flint, come together and start making these changes. So with that, I hope you have a great day. Be involved today at 5 o'clock at City Hall. Is going to be a little Arrest Snyder protest. Come down, meet some people, get engaged. You can find me on Facebook as Shayne Hodges or All Points TV. Thank you. Have a great day, and thanks for joining Hashtag Flint.